Suppose it's going to be a little hard to beat last week for excitement in Tesla, but you never know. We might have another massive uptick this week. I guess most of you are probably wondering whether we'll hit the all-time high, but those of you who watch the channel know that we already hit the all-time high, at least in terms of market cap. Now the question becomes, of course, whether we can bust through 400. Then after we bust through 400, can we bust through 410? 410 was the a little bit under 410 was the closing price at the all-time high, but it was 414 during the day that day. So we'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes too. Will all of that happen this week? It could. There's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't. We have lots and lots of folks that are now betting that it will go up to 500, 600, and 700 in the coming year. And so those who want to get ahead might already be, forerunning that, like you and maybe me. If I was investing more money at this time, would that be an indication that I think it's going to easily go to 4, 5, 600, 700? Well, of course, I've already told you my number. And yes, I recently bought a little more. And I'll talk about that at the end. I'll tell you what I did. And it's not recommendation. I'm just letting you know what I did. And it's a little different. Not quite the norm, not a leap, not even the stock, different. Okay, but we'll talk about that in a minute. In the meantime, I just need to thank you guys. I mean, I got to thank you over and over and over again. First of all, I hit 25,000 subscribers. I got the email today, and that's another milestone for the channel. You know, we just started 2 years ago, started 2 years and 8 days ago to be exact, and that's when we started this experiment. Who knew it was going to turn into this? That was 2,200 videos ago, roughly. That's not an exact number, and we're this close to 10 million individual views. I can't begin to thank you. We're also very, very close to 10,000 folks following on X. I just really started X about 5 months ago. I mean, I've been on X for probably since it started when it was Twitter. I mean, many, 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 many years, but I didn't really fool around with it very much. It's only been the last few months I've been fooling around with it. And now I'm at about 9,000 and just got 1,000 new followers over the last 48 hours. So I'm shooting for that 10,000 like ASAP. And then I think I should have 205 million like Elon. Anyway, in addition to thanking you for getting me so many new followers on X and getting me 25,000 subscribers on YouTube, then there's also the Cybertruck Bottle Opener orders that are finally beginning to pour in. I think that is because I finally remembered to tell you what a beautiful package it comes in. I mean, you're going to be giving a gift here. It opens, with a magnetic clip, okay? You get this magnetic clip, and then you open it up, and it has a piece of foam, but I took the foam out. And when maybe I did. Okay, there's this piece of paper that congratulates you for your purchase, and then you take the foam out. Look at this. I mean, wouldn't you be proud to give this? I mean, absolutely. That's the stainless version. If you look up over my shoulder over here, oops. Let me grab the camouflage version just to show you really, really quick. There it is right there, okay? And today, after I show, I guess I needed to go into the whole pitch because today, the phone rang, well, the email rang off the hook and we got orders. A very, very nice order came in from, where's my list here? Yeah, we had Stephen C., we had Sandra N., we had Tina E with a nice big order, Fong N, Timothy S. We had Kristen and Randy H, a really nice order. Thank you to Kristen and Randy. They're going to be giving it away to folks in their business. I don't know exactly whether it's their customers or their employees. I'm not sure they said. But anyway, a lot of business came in today. And again, I thank you for that. Whatever you can do, if you want to join Patreon, great Christmas present for Randy. You needed to get me a Christmas present this year. You want me to be able to afford some new shirts for next year, some new Hawaiian shirts or some print shirts, whatever you want to call these. If you'd like to not just keep seeing the same old shirts, maybe you'd hit me up on Patreon so that I can afford to get some new shirts. All right, listen, let's get on to the news. Sorry for all that housekeeping. If you do want to order one of these Cybertruck bottle orders, it's down below. You go to the description and it tells you send the money to paypal.me/Randy Kirk. All right. Entering this week, according to Barron's, Tesla's only about 6% from the all-time high. Question is, can it make it? Investors will look at a new record high for Tesla stock by year end. Yeah, everybody I think is figuring that's going to happen. Brian Wong thinks we might even get to 450 by year end. Entering this week, Tesla stock is less than 5%, about $21 shy of that record closing. Here's the exact number, 409.97. Reached on November 4, 2021, just 37 months ago. It's about 6% or $25 away from the intraday high of $414.50, which was reached on the same day. Now, these numbers, they're important, they're psychologically interesting, but the truth is, it's just another point of interest along the way to thousands and thousands of dollars a share. Now, you might have watched my video this morning where I talked about $10,000 per share, and somebody called it clickbait because I put that $10,000 number on my thumbnail, but it wasn't clickbait at all. I used the entire video to talk about how 10,000 is not silly at all. In fact, it's pretty much where Elon says we're going. So no, I wouldn't consider that to be clickbait. This was a serious and honest number that I was talking about. Anyway, at the start of this year, Barron's goes on with shares at less than $250. A record high looked unlikely, but then Tesla stock does the unexpected, it says typically. Entering Monday's trading, Tesla was up about 57% for the year. So how many different things have you invested in recently that you make 57% in a single year? Yes, crypto might have been that. Oh, gold. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. All those are true. But maybe if you held Tesla at $100, $110 from just a little bit longer ago, and now you're almost 4 times your money, that would be a much bigger. Now I'm holding my stock. The stock that we have right now is held at about $167. So that's 3 times the original investment. Anyway, earnings are not the reason for these gains. There's not a bunch of earnings information that people are betting on. According to FactSet, at the start of the year, analysts expected Tesla to earn about $5 a share. Well, that estimate's down to $3.40 a share. But it's going to be higher than that. Price competition in China and slowing EV sales in Europe and the US have weighed on estimates. Wrong. Slowing EV sales in Europe, but just slowing increases in the United States have weighed on these estimates. Instead, investors have focused on the potential for self-driving cars. Yeah, that's where the emphasis is right now. There's no question about that. Those have arrived, according to Barron's. Alphabet's Waymo completes more than 150,000 self-driving cab rides a week. Tesla expects to start driving a self-driving robotaxi service in late 2025. I would say that is almost a certainty at this point. The Waymo thing sets the stage. It provides a roadmap. It provides an indication that it can be done. Tesla coming in behind it only says, we're going to do it better. We're going to do it it's going to cost us less to get there. We have way more vehicles that we can turn into cabs, and then we can immediately produce millions more should we choose to turn them all into a fleet that is owned by Tesla. So the potential for Tesla is like multiple times what it is for Waymo. The opportunity, a lot of people say, well, how many will they be able to put out there? Well, there's a whole bunch of Ubers, I think 2 million worldwide. Every one of those is a target. Every one of those could be gone. Regular taxi cabs could be gone. Folks that are currently driving, other kinds of rental cars could switch to this because it just makes so much more sense. Anyway, the impact, it says, Barron's, the impact of the self-driving cars on the stock is the topic for fundamental analysis. Technical stock market analysts looking at the stock charts can also help handicap what's coming for Tesla stock over the coming few months, and things look good. So here's a few technical analysts that they talked to. I thought this was really interesting. So Cap Thesis, founder and marketing technicians, that's the name of the company, Frank Capillari, said that $400 was likely when the stock broke convincingly over 270 after the election. He says, quote, clearly short-term extended So if at any time it could undergo a bout of profit taking, which is what I said this morning. It's all about how investors treat the next drawdown. Since the low in April 2024, dips have been bought, whether those dips have lasted a few days or a few weeks. Again, I said this morning, it would not shock me at all for Tesla to go back to 300. It would not be surprising. And that would just set it up for the next increase back up to 500 or 600 or 700 by the end of next year. How the stock reacts to the dips is something to watch, but there doesn't seem to be much stopping Tesla from topping old highs. Fairlead Strategies founder and market technician Katie Stockton is looking at patterns that could see the shares hit 429. Again, this is technical and analyst. The charts bode well for new highs above the 2021 high, she tells Barron's. ChartSmart founder and marketing technician Douglas Bush believes 480 is in play, adding that he's observed recent call buying in Tesla stocks with a 710 strike price. I wonder if I know anybody who's bought any leaps at 710. I don't know. Okay, call options, but that's not my tip. My idea, I'll tell you my idea later. Call options give the holder the right to buy a stock at a fixed price in the future. Call buyers buying Tesla options at 710 are making a big bet on either the short-term stock move or volatility in Tesla stock, or both. Call buyers have to hold options don't have to hold options to maturity. The only time I've like maybe twice, three times I've held them to maturity. They can make money as the stock price goes up or down. In fact, talking about making 57%, I've already made more than 50% on the stock option, on the leaps that I bought a few weeks ago. Too many investors are calling for a top, added Bush. It won't happen until the chatter dies down. Technical analysts aren't making fundamental calls on stock prices. Barron's goes on to say they can help fundamentally minded investors understand what traders and other investors are thinking. Right now, the latter group is thinking Tesla stock can work higher. This is Randy Kirk. Please hit the like button, subscribe button, and the notify button. I mean, you guys are phenomenal. So you can do those things too. That just takes a second. Maybe you haven't subscribed yet. I'm going now. The next big get is 50,000. I mean, 25,000. I got there. Now we get to 50. I don't want to take 2 years to get there. Like maybe a year. I could get to 50,000. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Why would you hit notify? Well, that would be so that you'll be notified of 3 upcoming videos tomorrow. My regular after the bell program in the morning, and then in the late afternoon, Larry Goldberg will be on. We'll be talking about all kinds of. Did you see Larry Goldberg's in my story thing about Cathie Wood's report? That was fantastic. Maybe I'll leave that card for you here later. And then after that, we will have Brian White. And you enjoy laughing. I mean, listening to Brian. Yeah, he wants you to laugh too, because he is, after all, a self-proclaimed comedian. All right. This is, I've already told you all the rest of that stuff, right? About buying Cybertruck bottle openers. Come on, I need more orders today. It's already been a huge day. I could use another round. Okay. Market sentiment is often, this is another Barron's article, believe it or not. Market sentiment is often a contrarian indicator. Okay? If everybody's bullish, sometimes it's time to sell. If everybody's bearish, sometimes that's the perfect time to start buying. So market sentiment is a contrarian indicator. Not just often, it's almost always, according to me. Uniformly bullish views can signal a market top, so mixed readings suggest stocks may have room to run. So if they're mixed, sentiment's mixed, then maybe there's still an opportunity out there. Well, here it goes. While the stock market is on a tear, plenty of investors still aren't sure how they feel about it. And that could suggest more gains lie ahead. The S&P 500 is up nearly 28% in 2024. Now, assuming it doesn't dive in the final weeks of the year, it will be the first time since the 1990s it has posted 20% annual gains in a row. How about that information? And it also bodes well, by the way, when you have those kind of major increases 2 years in a row. Usually you get another increase the next year. And by the way, in a change of presidential party, you usually get those gains also by a lot. While investors have been warming to the market, a look at several sentiment indicators still shows a lot of caution. Market sentiment is often a contrarian indicator. We just said that. So if you can reduce pessimism and increase confidence, there is a lot that can still happen in this cycle, says independent marketing analyst Jim Paulson. To get a sense of investors' ambivalence, consider the American Association of Individual Investors long-running sentiment report. It's a weekly survey, so you can look this up and you can check it on a regular basis. We're not going to do that here, but you could do that. The weekly survey asks individual investors where the stock market will be in 6 months. That surged following the November 5 election, but it has fallen sharply since then. So after the surge, people are like, well, maybe not so much. The latest reading puts the share who sees stocks gaining at only 37%. That represents its lowest level all year, noted 𝐒𝐮𝐧𝐝𝐚𝐲 in Tuesday's Sevens report, a popular markets newsletter. We just quoted them this morning. These are surprising sentiment, quote, these are surprising sentiment readings given the new highs in the stocks, wrote 𝐒𝐮𝐲. The main catalyst for this change presumably is the election. Investors may see the election results as ushering in more political volatility and as such are less bullish about the outlook for stocks. Professional investors are more optimistic, but not necessarily at levels that indicate trouble for markets. Bank of America's securities sell-side indicator, which polls sell-side Wall Street analysts about their asset allocation, have a recommended hypothetical 60-40 portfolio right now. And that's high, but not dangerously so, according to a Monday report from the firm, from Bank of America. Over the past 15 years, the average call has been that 55% of investors' money should be in stocks, while the reading today is about 57%, leaving it below the 58% level that Bank of America considers to be a sell sign. One group that is extremely bullish is everyday consumers, the retail investors, millions of Americans who may or may not be invested in the stock market. Recently, conference board data indicated the share of consumers who are bullish on the stock market exceeds those who are bearish by about 30 percentage points, one of the highest levels since the 1980s, according to Paulson's calculations. Still, unlike investor sentiment, consumer sentiment isn't necessarily a contrarian indicator. He says it's more likely to simply reflect broad positive feelings about the economy, which would be a very good thing. And in fact, the Michigan report and the conference board reports both show that consumers are getting more bullish on the economy. Quote, when consumer bullishness has been in the top quintile, as it is today, the forward 1 month average annualized S&P 500 total return has been a robust 14.4%. Unlike when investor sentiment measures are super bullish, excessive consumer stock market bullishness simply indicates a good time to step into the market and ride the positive sentiment. Sounds like Goldilocks to me. Everything seems to be perfect in terms of the sentiment indexes. All right, what's going to happen this coming week? Well, first of all, on Monday, just one thing, wholesale inventory, something that I have very little interest in, but last month it was down 0.2%. This month they think it'll be up 0.2%. I don't think it matters. Okay, next, Tuesday, something I care a lot about, the NFIB, the National Federation of Independent Business Optimism Index. These are small business folks. They had an optimism index. Well, their optimism index for the last 2 years, 3 years has been horrible, worst ever. Okay, so while the big businesses are doing great, and we've talked about this again a couple of times yesterday, I think with Larry, the small business owners are not doing well. A lot of them are in construction. A lot of them are in durable goods. A lot of them are in the areas of they're in real estate. These are areas that are not doing well. So last month, the number was at 93.7. That is expected to tick up to 94.3. We will dig into those details tomorrow morning and see if these small business owners are feeling better now that Trump is going to be in the White House. Then we have the productivity, a revision. Again, this is quarterly, and you get a productivity number. The next month you get the productivity revision, and then the next month you get the productivity final. So last month it came in at 2.2, which is an okay number. They're expecting that to stay the same, the revision not to change anything. Wednesday, this will be the one everybody will be paying attention to because I'm the only guy that watches the NFIB. I think it's really important because a huge percentage of the economy in the United States is driven by small business. Anyway, consumer price index on Wednesday was up 0.2% last month. They're expecting it to pop to 0.3%. This would not be good for the Fed. Who has to make that decision the following week? Okay, we've got the year over year. These are the headline numbers. Year over year, 2.6%. Last month, they're saying that's going to go up also to 2.7. Core last month was 0.3. They're saying it's going to stay at 0.3. And core year over year was 3.3. They're thinking that's going to go down a little tiny bit to 3.2. These are not numbers that will make the stock market happy if this is what happens. We could see, I think, the stock market drop on these numbers if this turns out to be the case, because that would, and you could see the bond yields go up. This would be all the information that the Fed would need to not do a cut the following week. That's my humble opinion. All right, the monthly U.S. budget last month was a negative 314 billion. Of course it was, and this month they're thinking it will be a negative 353 billion. Come on, Doge. We need the DOGE Commission to get into business and stop this nonsense. All right. We have initial jobless claims on Thursday. Those were 224 last month. They're saying it will be flat, exactly flat. Wow, 224 again this week. That won't happen. Producer, but I don't know if it'll go up or down. Producer price index last month. So these are now the producer price index. It, to me, is not nearly as important as consumer price index because producer prices do not flow through to retail necessarily. I've explained this 100 times. I'll explain it more on Thursday when we bring it up again. I'll try to remember to bring it up. But sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And there's a lot more that goes into the final retail price than just whatever the company paid for raw materials, transportation, etc. They get labor. They've got all these other things that go into the final price. So anyway, last month it was up 2.2%. They're thinking it's going to be up 0.2% again. And then the rest of them, they don't have a guess. Last month, core was up 0.3. That would not be good if it came in at 0.3 again. Year over year, 2.4 was last month and this month. And they're not making a guess on that either. And then PPI year over year on the core, 3.5 last month, very high, and no guess again for this Thursday. Then on Friday, we get the import price index. Last month, it went up 0.3%. This month, for whatever reason, maybe because of oil, they're expecting it to go down 0.2%. And then import price minus oil, last month was only up 0.2%. And this month, they're not going to give us a guess. So we'll see what happens on Friday. So those are the reports that are going to be impacting things next week. Okay. So what did I do? Here it is. Okay. I took a little nibble on TSLA, TSLY. That is an ETF. And what they do is they buy and sell Tesla like I used to do on a daily basis. Well, who knows? I don't know all the methodologies that they use, but they buy puts and they sell puts and they buy calls and they do all this different stuff. And they're trying to play the game, trying to play the market. And they're very successful at it. They're very good at it. I've been watching them for actually one of my clients, a bicycle owner over in Ontario. He has been doing this for quite a while now. And every time I go see him, I see him about once a month. Every time I go see him, he goes, "Hey, Randy, did you buy any of that Tesla yet? I got another check." And I'm like, "What?" So what happens is, okay, so I bought exactly 100 shares, $1,500 worth. Okay, it's roughly $15 a share. And so I paid $1,500 and I got my first check for $110 for 1 month. And this is what he's been telling me. Every month he's getting like $100, $90, $110, $120. Okay, and then you still own the underlying product. Now, I've talked to some people even commented on X. They said, well, I bought it a couple of years ago and it was at 18 and then it dropped to 15. So after I add back in my $100, every month, I only made a little bit. Well, okay, but now it's down to 15. So is it going to go to 13 or 12? Maybe. But I'm got to think that maybe it's not. And if they consistently hit this kind of number, I mean, it's 75% and, basically 75% return. So that it's not a recommendation. I'm just saying it's something I did, and I'm just nibbling. I still have all the rest of the stuff. It's all, I don't touch it. I didn't sell something to do this. So it's just, it seems like a good deal. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. All right. We got to get out of here. The football game's about to start. Yeah. So like, subscribe, notify, do all this stuff. Show up tomorrow. For all the shows tomorrow, Larry Goldberg, and then later in the afternoon, Brian White. And then I'll put the Larry Goldberg where we talked to Kathy Wood. I'll put that one up there so you can go back and see that if you didn't check that out yet. Place your orders now. Remember, you've got about 10 days to get these ordered before there's going to be a freight issue, okay, getting them in time for Christmas. Now, maybe you don't care about that. Maybe that's not the big deal, okay? But if it is a big deal, if you care about getting them in time for Christmas, you really have until a week from Monday to do. Now, if you're in California, no, it'll get there in 2 days. But if you're in the East Coast, it's going to be getting harder and harder to make sure that I can get them to you by Christmas Day. But if you order anytime this week, just do it now. Go down below, description, send the money to paypal.me/Randy Kirk. It's all done. You're done. It's all good. Okay. It's been great talking to you.